Cat, stop dying over pepperoncinis, please.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Are you sure? Do you need to die a little bit?
I have a cup of chalky milk here, so strawberry chocolate milk.
Normally you have
strawberry
chocolate
powder
milk, and
in-
normally
milk
you
is
have
the best.
strawberry milk, but you don't normally have chocolate strawberry milk.
My
don't
friend
make fun
discovered
of it. That's
it.
a good combo. Chocolate
Yeah,
and strawberry is a good combo.
Yeah, you put the strawberry powder and the chocolate powder into the same cup of milk. It's actually really good.
That
Seriously,
horrifies
try it
me.
someday. There's a reason that people still sell chocolate-covered strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good combo. Try it one day.
I have tried chocolate-covered strawberries, interestingly enough. The not quite acidity of the strawberries, but it's like the tartness, I guess. Strawberries have like a very weird reactive thing in my mouth for some reason. That alongside chocolate I don't think I'm allergic to strawberries. I've never really had an issue with them. But almost every berry I put into my mouth, and I assume because I'm dehydrated, it just causes my entire mouth to lock up for a few seconds.
Are you allergic to strawberries?
I don't think so. It's the same with every berry. Strawberries, pineapples, watermelon.
Are you allergic to berries?
Those are blueberries, wineberries, blackberries. My throat doesn't close up.
Is really rare.
Yeah, my throat doesn't close up. It just, my entire jaw locks up.
Cinny.
The
I've
bones
been
are
doing this
allergic.
for years.
Your body is weird, Cinny. I'm just gonna say it. I love you, but your body is really weird.
Tell him.
I'll have you know my body is
we
straight.
don't know already.
I'll have you know that the day that my body becomes normal is the day that, honestly, look for pigs flying and Death himself to be riding on a horse.
I mean, he's not that weird, realistically.
That's the problem, Sin. We've actually seen both of those things on the internet before.
Damn. So, how's the
Just
apocalypse going?
Oh, there's flowers growing in Antarctica.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that sounds glorious.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing, guys. Guys, that's a bad thing. No.
Oh crap!
Well,
you're right.
back to apocalyptic settings. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Shifting Fates. Hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Taurus, a chapter of Purgatory Corner. I am your storyteller, Sinspeaks. Today we shall be continuing the tale of Shifting Fates. Come on in, take a seat, and let your imagination run free. Today we're going to be having a wonderful time inside the most dangerous area in the entire continent, pretty much bar none except for possibly the Antarctic region, full of dangerous and deadly monsters that all exclusively want to kill each other and honestly sometimes themselves. How do you guys feel?
Scared for my
Like,
life.
mistakes will be made.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
I feel
Fair?
fine. I'm not in there.
Just disappointed they don't have shiny things.
Fair. By the way, Wally, you are just a tad bit quiet, just so you're aware.
Yeah, I'm a little low. Hold on. There we go.
No problem.
Hello there, my friends.
Well, hello there.
No.
But yeah, so you guys, last episode, if you guys don't quite remember, you guys were talking to Big Mama. She told you guys that her husband is Bloodtooth, and that the only real way that you guys are going to get to him through a mass of hundreds, possibly over 1,000 soldiers, is by her clearing a path for you guys. She wasn't exactly descriptive about how she was going to clear the path. It just was that she was very much so not wanting to do so. So you guys got all the way to the area. Rowena decided to stay back. She found some cover, and she did Summon Beast, I think it's called. Rowena? Rowena?
Rowena's
I believe
dead.
so. Summon
Oh.
Beast and let me check.
Yeah, because it
Sorry.
was...
Summon Beast and Beast Sense.
Ah, okay. So yeah, Summon Beast and Beast Sense. That way she creates a... Which bird did you want to create, by the way?
Anyone that's like common around there. So I guess maybe a crow.
Okay. Here specifically, the most common one that you can see is a variation of a vulture, essentially.
Okay, let's go with that.
All right, cool. There are hundreds of them in the sky, by the way, if not thousands. So it's very easy for you to blend in with them. Although you do have to be very careful, as there are randomly javelins flying through the sky and impaling some of the birds. You assume this is the main way that this large army is actually feeding themselves, considering their vast numbers.
I'm just seeing through.
Mhm.
They gotta take care of themselves.
So you create that as the party starts going down into the camp itself. Big Mama decided to show you all why you required her help by grabbing the guardsman or person at the gate, I suppose, and literally throwing him into the gate. And the sheer presence and power that she displayed caused the entire encampment in front of you to pretty much step to the side, almost military style, to allow her to continue walking forwards. Big Mama's first. I assume that Jackson and Ellie are directly behind her, with Bill behind them, and Averin and Oliver in the back.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Okie dokie. Bill, are you planning on being in that format, or are you planning on doing something spicy?
I mean, it's Bill. You know what he's like. Forward march at maximum speed.
God.
Speeb.
Trying to catch up with everyone.
Look, every one of their steps is 5 of mine, okay? I've got to move at high speed.
Oh,
Just-
fair.
Jump on Big Mama's back.
I would.
I am the bird on your shoulder.
So you guys are going forwards, and as you guys are walking forwards, Ellie can feel Jackson's hand tapping against hers. It's Thieves' Cant, but a specific kind that they designed a long time ago whenever they would be talking to Grandpa. Essentially, he would start tapping in various ways, and it would start either creating specific words or create letters in order to create words, depending on some of the ones you knew the better. And essentially, as you guys are walking, he's tapping out who's around you, kind of locations that are around you. He's telling you essentially stuff like, it's going to be okay. And also, Ellie would specifically notice he's at least about 4 inches in front of you at all times. You cannot physically get in front of him. Every single time that you attempt to move forward to keep pace with him, his entire arm flexes and moves you back. It's a very subtle movement, but you are not physically able to get right next to him, essentially. It's only a couple of inches in front of you, but he's making it very clear that those couple inches are not being passed.
Fair enough.
But he's essentially explaining the entire area around him, all the people that y'all are walking past, the birds around you. He's giving you numbers and statistics, and he's on constant alert. But as you guys are walking, do you say anything to him? Do you how do you react to it?
I would Thieves' Cant in return and say, thank you for letting me know. Everything should be okay. Once this is all over, we're one step closer to going back home.
He's done.
Also, stop stepping ahead of me. Your
He-
safety is more important than mine.
He's gonna Thieves' Camp back to you as you guys are walking and essentially say something like, he's gonna say, there is no way on this planet that you're stepping from me right now, and if you try, I will throw you at Bill. You're going to make it back home, and we're going to see who's going to come to the weird little parties that Arthur decides to create. inside of Miriasi. And no matter what, we're going to stay safe. And that involves you staying behind me as best I can.
Fair enough. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
But also, if you do that to Bill, that would hurt him.
Yeah, I gotta keep him alive so he can listen to Arthur talk about boars. Oh, sorry, bears.
Or bears.
The rest of you guys are more or less moving forwards. Avrin, you can say anything you want to. Oliver, if you think this is a moment Avrin would speak up. There are literally hundreds of orcs surrounding you guys as you guys have gotten closer and you guys have looked at their weapons. These weapons are nasty. Like, they don't have any clear, like, you know, grime on them or anything like that, but they are so serrated and just massively fucked up. It looks like each weapon was put through a wood chipper, but then glued back together. They are dangerous.
Just disappointed I can't pawn them off or anything.
Yeah, it does not look like they have any money or much clothing on most of them. The sheer muscle that is in the area around you is frankly unpleasant. So is anyone gonna quell the silence, or are you just gonna follow behind Big Mama and hope no one decides to throw something?
Are they staring at us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, many of them are staring at you. Some of them look like they want to eat you, and others look like they want to fillet you like a fish. Some of them are just staring at Big Mama with a general build of respect, but especially when they see you, it's like they're seeing a chicken walk past them.
Yeah, I'm just pulling my hood up and trying not to draw attention while just looking around me, seeing if I can see anything valuable or anyone who looks like they're about to kill me, you know.
You
Like
get
I'm
a
walking
general
through the
sense
slums.
that every person in this entire area is 2 seconds away from stabbing you if Big Mama wasn't there.
Just walk like I do in the slums.
It feels a lot like the slums, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
That this makes you feel like you are in one of the shittiest areas of the slum. Like this legitimately feels like you are just about to get stabbed 100 times. It's not a pleasant experience in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I'm just walking like I'm walking through those city streets, like I just saw someone who I scammed out of their money, you know.
Fair.
Yeah.
Alright. How do you feel about this, Oliver?
I'm just trying my hardest to keep close.
Big Mama's moving at a pretty damn fast rate, so it's almost a struggle for you guys to keep up, especially Bill. But she seems to be aware that you are slightly slower than she is, so it's not amazingly hard to keep up with her.
At some point, Bill would just get sick of it and just run, jump, climb.
Fair. As you like run, jump, and climb onto her back, it's a feeling as you look around where everyone looks and they just go, huh? Like, is the most confused you've ever seen a large selection of most creatures honestly staring at you.
And because no one can see under Bill's hat because they're so tall. I would like to roll intimidation because Bill doesn't have bird eyes, remember?
Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. Feel free.
That's right, he doesn't. That's great.
Was going to be... Well, it's not terrible.
Not great.
Yeah, you're not really scaring any of them. Honestly, the fact that you don't have bird eyes is making them kind of hungrier. Like, you got some predator eyes, and to this race of people, that means that you are practically begging to be food.
Noted. I'm probably gonna end up stabbing or Molotoving people. Gotcha.
It's very likely. But yeah, so you start kind of moving through the crowd, and Big Mama is making it very clear that if someone walks close to her, she breaks them. Because one person did decide to step in front of her. She broke his arm and threw him over 15 feet to the side without moving, without stopping her pace. It was not even a, it was more insulting to him than was anything else. But she did not slow her pace. She did not barely even think about him at that point. As she's walking.
Comforting.
Yeah.
Hey, Sid, so the sake of making her seem even more intimidating,
Uh-huh.
I cast Thaumaturgy. I'm gonna make it so that every time he steps, it creates a minor tremor.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, she is... It legitimately, if you guys were looking at this, it legitimately looks like she is on a warpath. And the moment she broke this dude's arm and threw him aside like trash, everyone moved like a good step backwards. It's like a 5-foot gap between the two sides as she is just moving forwards. She also doesn't seem to really pay attention to you guys behind her that much, especially about halfway or so into the walk. She just seems to get a much more unhappy look as she keeps going forwards. And looking a little bit past her, especially for Bill, you can see why. As you guys are looking past them, or past her specifically, you see a particularly large orc standing there. Most of the orcs around you guys are approximately about 7 feet tall, anywhere between 7 and 7.5 feet tall, roughly. These are all warriors. They're all very large and very intimidating. As you guys look past Big Mama, who stands herself at about 8 foot, you guys see a much larger 8.5 foot tall orc. This guy. Ignore the eye patch. He doesn't actually have an eye patch. But he is an 8.5 foot tall orc. He stands, and he's big. Like, he is huge. And he is absolutely showing his size as well. This axe that he's standing on is not clear, but it's like a full kind of war axe style, and it's tainted with blood. It looks like blood itself was not only seeped into it, but was forged out of it practically. And he steps off it, shoves it onto his shoulder as Big Mama starts, walking up to him. And to his side, which I will put up in just a second, there is another person. Which really I should have put in at some point, but it's fine. Did I actually put... Oh, I did. I just didn't add her picture. So you guys see a... not quite a drow, but you guys see I believe she's called, let's see, a Shadowkai elf. It's a dark-skinned elf. Shadowkai, yeah. It's a semi-dark-skinned elf. She's wearing a lot of raven adornments. She doesn't seem to carry much on her, except for a mace to her side, and then there's a shield on her back, but it doesn't seem like she's using it much. You aren't quite sure what her clothing is, but it doesn't look particularly protective, I suppose. And she stands at probably around 6'2", so she's much smaller than he is in comparison. And she legitimately looks small compared to him. As he's standing there, and it's like y'all are walking for like a good 10 minutes to get up to him, even at a fast pace. He's in the dead center of this area. But Big Mama comes up to him, and she decks him in the face. She hits him so hard, you see blood coming out of his mouth as his head like snaps to the side.
Oh no.
And he like spits onto the ground, and it's not a small amount of blood. It is like a giant mouthful of blood that he just spits on the ground. And she looks at him, and she just goes, I'm here, you cocksucking son of a bitch. It's just the most brutal fucking interaction. And Bill, you're on top of her head just watching this shit happen. And Bloodtooth just kind of stares at her, and he just goes, welcome home, my queen.
Oh no. Lyra tightens, not, wow. Ellie tightens her hand grip on with Jackson's hand, and she's trying to keep a calm demeanor, but that was a bit intimidating.
His voice echoes, by the way. When I say it's like rolling thunder, I mean it rolled through your bones. You're fairly confident that he has thaumaturgy being used on him at the moment, but also his natural voice, from what you guys can tell, is just straight up unpleasant to listen to. It like your skin is rising up from the very sound of it. It's also deeply unpleasant to you, Averin, because you've only met a couple of orcs, and most of them are too stupid to really do much to you. He sounds like someone who is about to make a deal with you and then break your hand. And he kind of looks at the rest of your party, and his eyes, as they travel over you, are absolutely terrifying. Just his look over most of you. I'm actually going to roll his intimidation real quick. Let me look at his character sheet. Shockingly, he actually... Oh, yeah, no, because he uses strength for it. There we go. Actually, that should be with advantage, but that doesn't matter. Anyone who wants to, feel free to roll your wisdom saving throw and try to beat a 27.
It's gonna literally take me a nat 20 to best this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nope.
Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah. He is... The look that he gives you, the straight just like glance over your party, fills every single one of you with a sense of true dread, with the exception of Bill because he cannot physically feel it. But the rest of you, the fact that he looked over you was legitimately scarier than the entire encampment that you guys have witnessed. There's
Just
not a
imagining-
single thing around you that is more scary than his eyes glancing over you.
Averin just like instinctively like takes a step back and like glances over to see if she can find an escape route. Not like she's actually like planning to, but she like side plans. There's like, how do I get out of here if everyone freaking dies?
Yeah, you would have noticed as you looked around, which most of the rest of you probably won't have, with the exception of Jackson, who would be tapping into Ellie. As you guys have been walking, they've been closing the gap behind you. You guys have about 10 feet before you would reach an orc. And you guys would have about probably 300 feet before you'd get to the gates. Completely filled with orcs. Yeah, no, you don't have an escape route. You would be legitimately terrified at the moment. Like, that this is worst case scenario, I'm about to die kind of terror. And he looks over your group. And he very slowly just kind of looks over you and goes, why did my wife bring peasants to a battle of soldiers? Who speaks for your lot?
I mean...
Ellie. Oh.
yeah, your bird's speaking up first. I'm sorry, your bird's
Excuse
not in
you?
there. The bird is speaking. He's gonna speak up. Do not
Sir.
call us peasants.
says the meat.
Says the idiot.
Bill!
Bill doesn't look happy, by the way. Because no one's paid, because, Bill does his thing.
Mhm.
Again, he's short. He actually looks pissed off.
Yeah, you see Big Mama kind of like put her arms in front of her. You can feel on her head though a twitch. It's not a happy twitch, but you can feel like she's just letting you do what you're gonna do. And
Yeah.
Bloodtooth like looks at you, and you see. By the way, most orcs have tusks, right? They have like kind of small tusks. His tusks are nearly up to his eyes from how large they are, and they are stained with blood.
Yeah.
He gives you a
Weird.
smile.
Bill returns the smile.
The rest
And
of you,
waves
this is
with
one of the
his-
most nerve-wracking shit you've ever seen.
Yeah. Bill returns a smile, and he waves with his dragon hand. And he's just gonna, and Bill's just casually gonna walk onto Big Mom's arms.
Meets
they're out
that
this road.
talks and is mad.
Why? Well, not really mad. Well, actually very mad, but that's for multiple reasons. We're technically travelers, warriors of our own kind, more or less, with how many fights we've been in. We have news for you. Whether you heed it or not is your choice.
Interesting. Don't like look over the rest of the party before looking back at Bill. Do you speak for your party, bird? What's that,
They are
Runa?
the-
Is there a way I could like send the bird down to like kind of over here?
Yeah, you would be able to hear this. So essentially, you would just kind of like drop because he's standing right next to his tent, and so you essentially drop on top of the top of the tent. You're next to like 12 other ones, so no one notices. But you would be
Okay.
hearing this, and even through your bird form, this is vastly uncomfortable. Like the bird form being next to him, even like 10 feet away or so, is making you terrified for your life. Which is impressive considering you're not physically there, but his sheer presence is just unpleasant. What are you saying, Bo?
As Bill sits there, given that you've actively attempted to terrify the people in front of you, and I have no sense of danger, for once that coming in handy, but survival of the fittest kicked in a long time ago for me.
A warrior, huh?
No, survivor, spirit talker. If you even
Little
understand what that
difference in our clan.
Your clan is going to a fight that they'll die. All will die. Your enemies are going to be using a tactic, a disease. If you go to that fight, you will die. Not a warrior's death.
He raises his eyebrow. What faith do I put into a bird?
Your dead are walking among you.
Aye. Soldiers, protectors, guardians, and spirits.
No. These are not spirits of protection. I would closer call them revenants, or the beginnings of such creatures. A disrespect upon your clansmen, who are buried in your graveyards protecting your home.
See, he doesn't look particularly happy with that statement, and you see the elf next to him kind of step forward at that, a little bit in front of him, which weirdly enough, he doesn't even like do, like non-verbally, he doesn't do anything when she does this. Every other person he had some kind of non-verbal reaction to. A movement or a shift of the body, but she just kind of steps kind of in front of him to some degree, and you actually have to look down to see her because of how tall Big Mama is, and she looks up and she goes, I am Ashrin, a grave cleric. I speak to the spirits too. Who are
Then why
you?
are the spirits here? I am Bill. You, though this name may not carry weight, the master I studied spirits under, I call Odin. Something I do not tell people lightly. I am a College of Spirits bard and somebody who has spoken to the spirits his entire life.
I'm a grave domain cleric. Spirits are my domain, and my
Then you
god
should know.
is of death.
So then you should know as well as I do how dangerous it is.
Indeed. The spirits around us protect us by fighting, in a way. They do not actively go onto the front lines. They, I suppose, increase morale to some degree. They are the beginning of revenants, yes. But they, in this culture, do not become revenants. They become the soldiers that you see in the graves. They sit here for one last time. They prepare their weapons alongside ours. They break bread next to us, even if they cannot eat it and they cannot embrace it. And when we go off to the war, they go to their grave. They stand in front, and then they leave, so that they may watch over us for when we come back. And the pattern continues.
How many times has this happened recently in recent fighting?
This battle's been going on for 200 years.
That's not my question. In recent times. 200 years is not recent to a mortal. Not most mortals.
In the last 4 fights, each of which have taken place over the last 2 or 3 years, between each one, it has happened each and every single time. They die, we take their bodies back, we bury them. Their spirits come back. They break bread, they wait, they rally. They stand in their grave. We go off to fight, and the circle continues.
How long do you think this will keep going before they start turning into actual revenants? Dissatisfaction with the fighting themselves at some point.
But Tooth speaks up at that. It won't. This is the last battle.
Hey, Sin.
Yes?
I'm gonna thaumaturgy to oh, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm going to use it to. My mind keeps saying empower, but that's not it. I'm just going to use it to enhance his voice.
Okay.
You say this
Amplify.
is the last. Yep. You say that this is your last battle. In truth, if you go to this battle, it will be all of your race's final battle, if not the entire continent's. Your enemies are deciding to use a disease that will spread continuously amongst your people until every last one of you is dead. There will be no fight. There will be no honorable death in battle. There will be nothing left. As someone who understands the will of the strong and the understanding that the strong will overtake the weak, someone who's experienced it a few times in his life, there is no honor, there is no strong if a disease is the thing that takes you.
What proof do I have that the elven... what's a word you use in common for them?
I have many words for my disdain. Use what word you like.
What proof do I have that those wretches would go to such low extents?
Oliver?
I'm just going to hand him a vial while containing the ailment. How many notes do you want to hear? He says.
Who are you? tiefling?
My name is Oliver Richards, a tiefling of no renown. I am an alchemist, and I study illnesses. The one that the elves have been attempting to weaponize for this battle is one that I've been studying for the past several months, in fact. How many ways do you want me to go down for, or how it can kill, and and what details do you want me to give you to tell you that not even your friends will be your allies once it drives too deep?
Hmm. Ash, double check. You see Ashrin just like kind of step up to you specifically, Oliver, and hand out her hand. Can I see your notes?
I'm just going to put the entire scroll case in her hand. Be careful with that. There's a lot of papers.
Been alive for 400 years, child. There's nothing I'm not careful with. You see her, she goes through it quick, by the way. Like, she is sliding through it like it is, like it's an old book that she has read before. Not a single paper is misplaced or or put out of reach. She is incredibly diligent with it, and she scans it through like she's reading like a 2-paragraph thing instead of a 15,000 paragraph notebook. And she looks through the entire thing before closing and handing it back to you. He's correct, Bloodtooth. The elves decide to use the underhanded tactic of slaughtering those that are close to them and not. Am I correct in assuming that they would use this in a battle, the next battle, including their own people?
Yep. The elves have no care for the half-elves. They've actively used, if you've been to the trail, correct?
Hmm.
Then you should know how little they care about their own people.
I've seen it. We should hold off on the fight, Bloodtooth, at least for now. However, no matter how often we hold off on the fight, that just means that the elves are going to come over to us, and they have to throw stuff at us. And if they throw their people at us, and throw disease at us, while we're sitting here like sitting ducks, we will die without a single one of them dying. That does not create a good story.
Oh, you're with Ezekiel.
She raises an eyebrow. Who?
You said a good story.
Indeed. I'm a storyteller and a story writer. I am with Bloodtooth here because he creates a good story, and I refuse to let his story end.
Oh! Yeah, I know who you are.
Oh?
You're with Ezekiel. The weird... What is he again? I don't want to call him human, because he kind of exploded.
Well, he's basically immortal, I believe, at this point.
I went checking. But Ezekiel talks the same thing. Goddess doesn't want to see stories end. Either you're her disciple, or you are her. Regardless, it's irrelevant.
I have no interest in other people, or other sayings, or whatever gods or goddesses that may reign above. I have no interest in them. The only being that I care for is me, myself, and I, and the goddess that I follow, the goddess of death herself. I keep Bloodtooth alive because he creates the most interesting story I've ever seen. A story of war, rampage, and fatherly passion. Whoever this Ezekiel is that you're talking about can frankly go fuck himself. For if he's trying to do what I'm doing it better. And he's just an asshole.
Nah, he's just getting drunk. Also learning every thing under the sun. I mean, if you want to, more like a passionate a random man. I mean, to be fair, if you want to do everything better, Bill pulls out the booze. I mean, he drank this.
I don't drink alcohol. Dulls the senses.
Then you're not better than him at something. As he puts it back in his bag.
I'm better at him at what matters.
Uh-huh.
If he wants to be better at shoving his dick into a fire, then he's welcome to. I will focus on creating a story. If that story involves you, well, so be it. For now, the story involves Bloodtooth staying alive. If the elves are going to resort to such cowardly methods as vomiting their own people onto the streets, then we won't fight. However, if we see the elves marching, we will not be sitting here like ducks. We will not die by them throwing their own people at us. They will march, and we are sure of this. And we will march to meet them.
Well, then I'll make you a suggestion.
And what is that?
If they're going to be underhanded and they're going to do something dishonorable, do not meet them the way that you normally would. Use the very trail to your advantage.
She raises an eyebrow. And how do you mean, bird?
You're a cleric of death, aren't you?
Indeed.
There are plenty of dead elves that half-elves you could use on the trail. I don't like that answer, but it is an answer to your problem currently. Or I could handle keeping them at bay.
Are you planning to take down the entire elven society yourself, bird? You hear the sheer disdain in that statement.
Bill smiles at her and answers her in Celestial. No, I plan on using a dragon.
Oh no.
Interesting. We have arisen an army to fight. So we will give you a small amount of time. Either the elves die. She looks up at Bloodtooth, and Bloodtooth nods at her, and she goes, in a month. Or we march and we kill every single last beating heart.
The dragon comment applies to both sides.
If the dragon kills all of us, well.
Because I'm not after either side of this war. I'm after something different. I'm after Shar and Palor.
You want to kill a god, bird?
Yes. Because they screwed with my life. And I don't take second chances for stupidities. After all, I already have the sword for it.
Interesting. You might make a good story after all. I'll make you a deal, Kanku.
Hey, you know what I am. That's a surprise. Most people don't.
Most people do not have a god in their head. I'll make you a deal, though. If you can kill or get rid of... Actually, no. She looks at the Bloodtooth again. He nods very hard, and she looks at you and goes, if you can kill the elven army, I will give you an introduction to Shar herself personally.
There's no need for that.
Yeah, no, I've already met her once.
But have you met her mortal body?
Not yet. That's something I need
Already
to do.
figured that out.
Yeah, kind of know where that is too.
Then how are you going to get there?
We have our ways that you do not need to worry about.
I am literally the epitome of find out by fucking around, ma'am.
Interesting. Well,
I am the epitome of idiot savant.
well, if you do not wish to meet her, then I wish you the best of luck in trying to kill her. She has a difficult time dying.
We'll be fine. We'll find
We'll
our
hold
way.
off for a month, Kenku. 1 month. And either they will come to fling their dead, their ill, their sickened at us, or we will march upon their gates and they will throw them anyways. If we are going to die, we will not die here to sickness and disease. We will die with the graves of the rest of them, the ones that were abandoned. Or we will die in their city, in their halls, in their streets, and in their capitals, bathing in the river of their blood. There is no way that this ends in anything but bloodshed, for they will march, and they will try to kill us all.
Same could be
Well-
said towards your group as well.
Yep, it'll be wonderful seeing your face after all of this, when there is no war to be fought ever after this.
You hear Bloodtooth speak up at that, and he goes, I desire my children to live in a world without war, to finally not have to bury another child. He looks at Big Mama, who legitimately looks away from his gaze as he says that. Like, full on turns her entire body away from him. I want my children, and their children, and the next generation, and the generation after that, to be able to live and breathe free from war. To be able to fight boars or raging beasts in the sunken snow down in the tundra below. Free, happy, without cause for worry on if they will die in the next couple of years. If that requires the death of every single individual in this camp, then so be it.
Well, it doesn't require any deaths if it can be helped. That is why we're
How
going out
old
of
are
our
you,
way to make sure
child?
this happens. That doesn't matter. I am old enough to make a difference and save lives. I'm old enough to try to stop this war before it even begins. I'm old enough to make sure your children and those afterwards, and my children and afterwards, and those around me can return home and not know of war.
How many generations of war have you seen?
That doesn't matter.
It does, child. I
Actually,
have seen 5 generations of war.
and I have seen gravestones far greater than your victories.
I have buried 396 children.
And yet you can't bring yourself to not fight.
Why do you think I buried them? Do you want me to bury every single individual in this camp?
I do not. I'm not like the other elves. I do not cower to an orc.
You're a half-blood child. They
So,
don't care about you.
that's fine. I never even knew of them. I was raised by a gnome that doesn't care about war.
Hmm.
I would rather stay happy, cozy in their little forest. That's what I want. just to be left alone in my little home. I want to make it so people can return home, because that's what they deserve after a long day of work. Not about shedding blood and honor and climbing the ranks just to make people happier just because of the influence of a fucking god.
He looks
So
at you,
you-
and you notice for the very first time, his face softens. He does not give you the same look that he had before. It's not an intimidating look. It's not even a pitying look. The last time that you had someone look at you this way was Grandpa. This is a
Oh,
look of a
no.
father who is watching his child wish to go off to die.
None of us in this party want this war. My entire life, I've heard the screams of millions. Being at the Trail of Tears hurt. To see people die on their terms is what I prefer. I ask you about your ways, so I understand what I'm dealing with. I am resolute, and so is she.
You have a very naive child in your party. And I do hope one day that my children and their children and their children can think the same way you do, child. Where they are allowed to grow up without war, without hate, and grow up in peace.
Well, that's
Hello.
what we're striving for. After all of this, I'm sure you've been on a team yourself before. At least, I believe you have. You had to be at an adventure at one point, where you just roamed around free and happy.
We did.
I want my group to also just roam around and be happy and go back to the bar I built and, well, we built. And Ellie will squeeze Jackson's hand for a moment.
He squeezes
Just
it
to
back.
go back to that. Just to go back to that and be happy and just all races be neutral with each other. But to do that, we have to be the catalyst in our own lives. We can't just let life continue on with the stories we grew up on, because if we let life continue with those stories, it'll leave us behind and we're stuck. And if we don't want to be stuck and we want that change, we have to do something about it, even if it's naive. I
He's
know I'm
actually
naive,
going
and I'm
to
thankful
kneel
for
down and look you
Oh,
like
no.
dead in the eyes.
I'm
By the
scared.
way, this man is like 4 times your size in terms of like broadness. He is huge compared to you. He is legitimately casting a shadow over you from his sheer size. And he kneels down, so he's like more on your level, and he looks right into your eyes. And he just goes, "What is your plan, child?"
Emissary of Peace, let's go.
And you can tell this is an honest question from him. He's not even giving you pity. He's not asking you like you're a child. He is asking you a legitimate, honest question, wanting to know, what is your plan? What are you planning to do? How are you going to back up your words?
My plan, our plan, our naive plan to those around us is to make it that both armies believe that the other one is not going to fight, so they stall out. Or something happens that stalls them out enough that they are unable to go to war. Because each side has some kind of reason they shouldn't go. Whether it's because of the disease or they have a bunch of greenies. It's not much of a plan, that is for sure. We are just a simple group of mixed people with little hopes for the future. However,
Say that both sides stall. Say that you managed to delay us by an entire year on both sides. What happens when that year is up?
When that year is up, the gods may be gone, or they may not be gone, or they are replaced by one god that has no influence over the other. Because there are several fucking reasons why you guys keep fighting, and it's because Palor decides he hates Shar, so he uses the elves to continue the fight, and Shar uses the orcs as just to push them for that honor. She doesn't persuade them or force them to fight, unlike Palor forcing the elves to fight and the paladins to keep fighting. We saw a paladin the other day nearly cry in happiness because he no longer felt the chokehold of Palor on him. That he was able to do whatever he pleased and that he was basically mortal now. In that year time, I want a new leader in the Citadel. I want you to retire and be with your children. And maybe make up with Big Mama. She might beat you with a ladle, who knows? But just something different than now is what's needed most. And to do that, we have
Oh,
to
child.
do something about it. I know I'm a fucking child, but at least I'm doing something unlike the adults around us. It took me getting out of my forest to get here. I knew of nothing of this. Outside my forest was completely different. My life got ruined once I stepped out of that forest of mine. Which means the rest of you are capable of being like that. And just keeping to yourselves. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all and keep to your own areas. In a year time, there will be new people, new leaders, and possibly no gods. And if there is going to be a god, it will be a neutral one. One for the gray area. One just for everyone. Where there is no day and night separate cycles. It's all just one day that we all live together because we all have to function together in some fucking way.
You
Sorry.
can feel Jackson gently tapping your hands.
Oh.
You see,
Ellie
you
would
see, you see Bloodtooth start. He kind of like stands up and he grabs his axe off the floor and puts it onto his back. The idea that you are working on, child, is flawed.
Oh.
Hmm.
Come here.
Hmm.
This is gonna be weird. Hey, Oliver, cut the thaumaturge.
Oh, I assumed it was already gone. It only lasts for a minute above game.
But they'll know that.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's been off for about 2 or 3 minutes by now.
Oh. Well, big guy, come here. Please don't play.
Kind of walk over to you. It is such a drastic size difference. It legitimately looks like someone with like a crow on their arm when he just kind of like steps next to you.
Ollie's just going to. Well, Ollie's over there. Or Ollie is just going to slip to the side of Ellie and just silently whisper to her. Next time, just tell him that we're trying to relieve the tigers of their fangs. And then just takes a couple steps back.
And
Bloodtooth
Bill's
looks
going
Bill.
to whisper.
Mhm.
And Bill's gonna. Here. I have something that you should know, probably.
He reaches out his hand for you to step on it, so you're not looking at his shin.
Yeah. Bill gets on his hand.
Yes, child.
And Bill's gonna whisper something to him, and I'm gonna DM you.
Not a problem. I want to see. Okay, give me that
While
good
this
shit.
is happening,
Mm-hmm,
is there a way for the bird to try and see if there's like like an open flap or something? Like just kind of saunter into the tent, look around.
Oh, you can absolutely go into his tent, yeah. There's very little
Okay.
stopping you. You see a lot of other birds, like, they're just kind of refusing to go into his tent, for one reason or another. But you're able to go into his tent. It's remarkably bare. There's a couple of things, like, on the walls, but it looks like a hunter's hut more than anything else.
Okay, then saunter out. Go back with the other birds.
Fair.
It was worth a shot.
There's not a whole lot in there, unfortunately. Roll me investigation real quick, though.
Okay. Investigation. Oh.
Yes. Don't really find anything in there, unfortunately. And whoever has high passive perception, you guys would
My
be seeing...
man.
Yeah, he definitely sees, but you guys would be seeing the orc's face. He raises an eyebrow for a second as Bill's whispering into his ear, and then he kind of turns away from the group, and you see him nod, and his body language is curious more than anything else. He seems to be very, very curious, and he asks a single question to Bill, but you can't hear what it is. And Bill gives a very short response, and he just kind of nods, and he walks back to the group, and he puts down Bill onto the ground, and he looks at Ellie. You've unfortunately been under the impression that the reason we fight is that the gods themselves are the commanding force.
Yes, an influence.
Influences are different from survival. We are influenced by our surroundings, but our surroundings do not dictate our survival. The elves do not fight us because they are forced to, and even without the influence of a god, we are still a danger to their territory, a danger to their livelihood, and we will continue to be that as long as they see us as savages and warriors, and we will never stop being warriors.
Well, in due time, how they depict you will change. But it takes time, and it takes the gods not being around to change that. Because I've seen it personally, that the influence of a god has an effect on how you respond to those around you. Even within my own team, the influence of a god has an effect on how you respond and the races you're around.
My men
But
are
in
getting
due
antsy,
time-
child.
Your men could go fight a boar. Your men can spar with each other. I know and I understand that they're getting antsy from stories they grew up upon, an expectation they're said to have for each other and
How
their
many
life.
of your brethren have you watched get stabbed in front of you?
As I said before, I am just a simple elf, a half elf. Muddled blood from a little forest. I've seen no one die yet, and I don't plan on it. If I had it my way, no one would die in this war, so be it myself or the god within me.
Every man here has seen their brother, child, or parent get murdered. That is another reason why we fight. They're not antsy because they need to fight. They are antsy because they desire to avenge
Maybe.
their fallen.
Yes, there will always be someone to revenge you. That will never disappear. That's nothing that can be controlled. But eventually there will be forgiveness. There will be change. I said eventually. I'm not as naive as you think I am.
You have the hopes and dreams that I hope that our children will eventually have. I will
Well,
give
to
you.
do that, things need to change.
I will give you exactly 1 month, as Ashrin said, to produce some kind of change. My men will refuse to be sitting ducks, and I will give you 1 month and 1 month only, because after 1 month, even if I choose not to fight, my son will trample over me, and he will lead the army, regardless of whatever passions that you have against us. And if he leads that army, there is not a single word you can say to him that will change his mind. And he will kill every elf, mother, woman, child, and soldier in the entirety of the Elven Citadel. And I will lay dead on the ground.
Well, if I succeed, I want to have a drink with you. And the Dragonborn that also thought I was naive.
You took my hand.
If you succeed, child, I will drink with you every day until the day I die. I will personally ensure
Duly
that
noted.
the only things that get past you are unbladed. And if someone dares to raise a blade against you, I will strike them down with so much vengeance that their soul itself will cry out in agony.
Well, I think starting with a drink will work best. You're a man of stories. I'd like to hear your stories. And I have a tavern that would love to hear stories as well. And we'll have to learn the likeness of orcs.
Having us be survivors again would be a dream.
It's a dream that I
Survive,
seek.
child. Survive from my children. Now leave. My men are going to kill you if you stand here much longer. You and your party of miscreants.
I'd probably take at least 2 of them with me. Be fun.
Best of luck with that. It was good
I'm-
to see you again, wife. She doesn't face him. She doesn't even look at him. She just kind of tenses a little bit before she just turns around and starts walking.
Bill's just gonna climb back up.
And
1
Ellie
month,
is going
child.
to tighten her grip with Jackson's hand. Kind of scared when they turn back.
He's pretty much just
1 month,
constantly
and you'll drink with
reassuring
me.
you while also having a hand on his knife. But essentially, as you guys start walking away, Bloodtooth just kind of says to you, survive. You have 1 month. Make a difference. I do not want more of my children to die.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
What's your favorite alcohol?
Give me an ale any day of the week.
How about dragon nut wine? I heard it's pretty good.
You make a wine out of a dragon's privates.
They made
And they-
wine out of an entire
Well-
dragon. It sent me to a different plane of existence for a little while.
And he
That's-
survived.
And they call us savages.
Well,
be fair,
it's all
I
about
was raised in the
surviving,
woods.
isn't it?
Survival is using their skin to pad your tents so the cold weather doesn't affect you. Survival is using their bones to create stew and their meat to feed your children. Creating an alcoholic beverage simply for pleasure out of a pot that is very rarely, if ever, used is impressive innovations, but
I mean, that's what my hand's made out of.
very resourceful.
It's a good thing
Nonetheless,
when you can spit
it'll be
acid at
good to
people.
have a simple, good old-fashioned ale for a simple old orc with many stories to tell.
I breathe for the day that happens. If you can survive this war, you will not die easily. You have 1 month. Make it count. With that, he turns around and starts walking.
Of course.
Although you notice that Ashrin stares at your group with a very entertained smile as she's writing in a book. You didn't even notice her pulling out one, but she's just writing a book she has. And she looks gleeful is the only word you could use to describe her expression. I'm
Probably
assuming you
just-
guys continue walking?
I'm following Big Mama.
Yes.
That's where she goes.
Ellie with a tight death grip on Jackson. They're walking.
Nice.
Probably muttering to himself what he still needs to find for the next step of the counter illness.
It takes Avrin a little bit of a moment to snap out of, oh god, we're all gonna die, to realize that, like, people are moving.
You probably noticed that because as they start moving away from you, you see several orcs start reaching for their weapons. Just staring you down.
Just like pulls her hood tighter over her head as she just moves.
Yeah. They were about to kill you as you start moving. You're like, oh no, oh no. And you also see Ashrin did not make a single step to try to help you. She is watching you with a gleeful expression as they start moving towards you.
She's like, oh god, they know. Oh god.
You catch up very quickly. Eventually, you guys get past the gates, and they kind of stop roughly at the gates as Big Mama walks through. You guys continue going all the way up to the slope that you guys were at previously, overlooking the area close to where Rowena was, and Big Mama lets out a very unpleasant breath. She also looks vaguely like she's about to cry. And it's very unpleasant to look at because she looks like not only is she a powerhouse, but she's about to break down. It's just a very strange contrast. As she's just kind of like standing there and just kind of like trying to chill herself, like.
Yeah, Bill's just gonna pull out one of his Molotovs, uncork it from the cloth, and just hand it to her.
She grabs and downs it one go and hands it back to you. And then she turns and punches one of the trees, which, by the way, is about a 15, 20-foot tall tree of, I believe it was a pine tree, I think. I think that's what those are. Anyways, she punches it, and she punches the entire top half of the tree off. Like, she goes through the tree as she punches. She's like, whew, okay, I'm okay.
I think you need to punch another tree for how I'm feeling.
Oh, right, you're small. I got you. And she punches another tree, and this one, when she punches it, instead of going through the
Thank
tree,
you.
she explodes the front of the tree from the sheer force. Oh.
Yeah, that's fitting.
I take it this was about as much emotional of an experience. No, probably even more emotional for you than us at this point. It sounds like. Ooh.
Talking with my husband is difficult, to say the least. Seeing so many of my children ready to go off to die, it's heartbreaking.
I'm surprised you still consider him your husband.
Why wouldn't I?
What made you love him so much? That even if sending your children to death, you still call him your husband?
He is not sending them to death, child. You see her have, like, the most sad look. Just a wave of sad washes over her as she gives you one of the saddest smiles you've ever seen. He's marching those who wish for vengeance onto the path that is least likely to kill them. He is doing everything in his power to keep them alive. is just not a path that I can take.
That's understandable.
I call him my husband because I care for him as he cares for me. He is simply doing what I cannot. He is making sure that our children will stay alive to the best of his ability. It is just a path that I cannot force myself to walk. Do you know how many children I've buried, Eleonora? Ellie?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, Ruby distracted me.
You're good. She looks at you and she's like, do you know how many children I have buried, Eleonora?
Dozens?
642.
Goodness. Shouldn't be so high, or really be a number.
I've buried those many because I've been in this war for so many, many years. I've produced many. I've taken care of many. Many of them are not my blood, nor were they his. I have dug each of those graves with my own bare hands. And we dug those because we believed that we were saving the rest of our race. And we were. In the last 200 years, if we had not fought a single one of those wars, they would have eradicated all of us. I call him my husband because he has chosen to end our suffering. He does not want us to continue this pattern, so he will end it this war. He made that his decision a while ago. I am unable to watch my children die yet again. I am unable to walk that same path. I cannot bear it. I am simply not strong enough. So he will. He shoulders that burden, as he shoulders many. This is not a fight to survival. A fight to survival is when you're facing a boar. This is a fight against extinction. This is a fight that's gone on for so long that almost none of us can remember when there wasn't a fight. I do hope, child, that you are able to stop this without bloodshed. I do. So you have 1 month. I will help you in whatever regard I can possibly help you in. I will take in any that I can. I will safeguard whoever I can. So I hope you know what you're doing. Because we are about to start the war. And I don't want my children to die.
I understand. Thank you for the insight.
I have to return to my camp.
Of course.
Be safe.
Have a safe journey. I hope we see you soon in greater terms and good news.
She nods as she looks at Bill and Oliver and Averin and just goes, may you all find peace where you need to. Especially you, Bill.
Yeah, we'll find our way.
With that, she turns and heads deeper into the forest. Rowena, you can choose if you want to regroup with the group at this point. You've probably been watching them through the bird, but you're welcome to.
Actually, I would like to watch Bloodtooth and Ashton. See
Okay.
what they're up to.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, snapping back over to them, as essentially they went into the area, and it's it's general tent stuff using fur and skin of most animals they have around here. So it's not very hard to hear them, especially focus on them. And you can hear Ashrin talking to Bloodtooth as they sit down inside of his tent, and she starts talking to them, and she just goes, "What do you make of that party? They're fascinating creatures. They really are. That bird. Oh, he's going to have such an incredible story ahead of him." Bloodtooth replies with, "I think that they are concerning. The bird told me something. And I am...
Lean in.
I am concerned. Within the month, his plan should activate, and we shouldn't have a war we need to fight at that point. But if it doesn't happen, we need to lead our army." The child is naive, but she's hopeful. And she's fascinating. And Ashrin just looks at him and goes, "I have not seen you look that way in years." She really hit that sore spot, didn't she, old man? Well, wait a month. Either this bird will have whatever plan he's gonna have activate, whatever that's gonna be. You're not gonna tell me, old fool. Or the child will have her plan activate, or we'll get to go into a war. Either way, the story is unfolding, old friend. And boy, am I excited. What do you want me to tell the troops? And he just kind of nods and he goes, "Prepare for war. We march out to a month. We'll get our rations, make sure everyone is fit to fight, and those that aren't, we'll lay them to rest. It's going to be a long, long month. I hope my wife does not hate me when this is over." And he'll stand up and he'll walk out of the tent, and Ashwin just kind of leans back and smiles, a very giddy, gleeful smile. Ah, child is fascinating. I wonder who will die first. And then she just kind of doesn't say anything further. You either assume she's sleeping or she's looking at her book or she's writing or something.
Can I have the bird go in and just
Yeah.
like make it obvious that
You put the bird in. You're the only bird that's ever like just strutted in there like, the person. She just kind of looks over at you, just kind of like stares at you, raises an eyebrow and goes, "Huh. It's a bird. Why ain't you up top?" Weird
and then I'll
little
make it disappear. I'll dismiss the spell.
Alright, cool. Yeah, so you kind of snap to your senses inside of your little hole, essentially. You do hear faintly the voices of Ellie and the rest of your crew a little bit ways away.
Okay, yeah.
So what do you think would be a better idea for this illness? Should I make it cause excessive sneezing and coughing, or do you think it'd be more effective to just make it cause the victims to be short of breath for a while?
Probably something that would hinder someone heavily for a while. Not kill them, of course, but make them second guess themselves.
But mental modification is so much more difficult, and let's go on and make it seem so much more dubious.
To be fair, we are dealing with the Council of the Citadel. If it's not somewhat dubious, then it may not work out in our favor.
True, but if it causes too much trouble, then they're going to catch on to it early.
How about chicken pox?
Actually, part of the reason I was half tempted to just make it cause them to be short of breath is because it's going to make them breathe a lot more, which is going to spread the illness in the air a bit better. And if the soldiers are all just out doing drills, it's going to be a lot less. It's going to be a lot less noticeable.
I say short of breath.
I was wondering about that one.
I mean, shortness of breath will be would definitely stall them out if they were to try to push forward. It also slow down their training.
Why not shortness of breath and sneezing? If you can barely breathe and you're sneezing all the time, that's not really going to help.
True, but if they're showing true symptoms of an illness, wouldn't they be encouraged to take a seat and stay out of the training in the battle?
Do you really think
Only
that?
Rowena would know about that.
Yeah. And I have no faith in the elves to stop the half-elves from fighting.
I suppose I'll have to ask her about that when we meet back up. Speaking of, where on earth is she? Just says as looking up and around.
Ask Rowena about what?
Sup?
Oh, there you are.
Friend.
How exactly does the elven military handle illness?
I've never really seen someone get massively sick. I mean, maybe they have and they've just, carted them off somewhere. But if you're sick, just like a flu or something, you work through it.
Okay, so coughing and sneezing isn't going to be as much of an issue. So long as it's not excessively, I'd wager. Sorry, ideas for the counter illness, in a sense. Cow veins? I need to come up with a better name for this thing. Remember when I made the comment about potentially making an illness to make the infected individual immune to blast veins?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah,
like
you were
literally in game he's saying
talking
that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out on what sort of transmissions I should have for it. My ongoing assumption is that setting it up to spread through air is probably one of the best options. But in order to get it out in the air, I need them to be exhaling it somehow.
Sounds very devious.
At this point, I'm not convinced that there are as many ways to handle this sort of thing without making it devious to some degree. Just as a defeated sigh.
It sounds like such an evil thing, doesn't it? I need to think of how to make this even more contagious.
I mean,
I think honestly just exhaling it's good enough.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Either
not-
we put it through the food system and give everyone a cookie or a bread, or just by touch or by air. Though we run risk of getting ourselves sick too.
I'm not that concerned about if we wind up getting sick, assuming everything goes properly, because again, this is not going to be a particularly dangerous illness. It's just going to be annoying. Functionally.
I go over to Rowena and be like, more importantly, oh, it's so glad to see. I should have stayed with you. That was terrifying. I am never going back in there.
I think I made the right call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There was nothing valuable in there, and I thought I was going to die. I regret everything. I should have sneaked off somewhere.
Think of it as a learning experience.
I'm just glad no one brought attention to me. Can you imagine someone pulling off my hood in the middle of all that?
I can't believe he kneeled to me. And he looked at me as if Grampy looked at me. Like, he looked at me as if, like, he was a dad. Like, he didn't seem like a scary orc. Not that he was scary in the first place, really. But still.
No, he was terrifying. You can say it.
He wasn't scaring
Okay,
you?
a
How?
little. Okay, he was
His teeth were
intimidating.
literally covered in blood, Ellie.
Yes, but there was a brief moment.
He
Just
had
a
an
brief
axe
moment
that
that
was
he
also covered
wasn't
in
this
blood.
war-torn orc. That he just was a dad wanting to protect his kids. I'm sure Grampy would do the same thing.
Has
Maybe.
your Grampy killed people?
Probably.
Good question.
There's a
Jackson!
possibility.
With an axe covered in blood.
Jackson, no!
I like looks at you. It's just like, I mean, he was an adventurer for quite a while, so
Did he wage bloody war on his enemies on a regular basis?
Okay.
it really depends on how
You know,
drunk
I
he
wonder-
got.
Yeah.
How did his teeth get
Well-
covered in blood, Ellie?
If you bite
Maybe
something
it spills
bloody,
from
it
his
gets bloody.
food.
I am not going to trust
Yeah.
a man who does not care about his dental hygiene and may or may not eat people.
Oh my gosh.
You can trust whoever you want. I'm going to stay on the sidelines with my hood over my head.
It's a valid concern.
Fine, I'll just go God mode and scare everyone.
I
I'm
think
pretty
the
sure
whole
that may actually have the opposite effect.
I think the whole murder thing is pretty prevalent here, but I mean he was definitely kind of scary, being several feet taller than us and several feet wider, but he didn't kill anyone, so
In
He
our
next to
presence,
me.
In your presence, that's true.
the orcs around us, they were taking out our weapons as we were leaving.
Well, he did say that they would do that.
You've obviously never dealt with survival of the fittest.
she really hasn't. No, unfortunately.
I'm talking
Wait, was
about
that
most
to
of
me or
y'all.
Avrin?
That was kind of more to Averin.
Oh,
As Bill just kind of blankly stands there, kind of looking at you all. And frankly, from a non-elf perspective, both your sides messed up. As Bill kind of like
okay, I
does a
already
dumb
know that.
pose.
I don't count. No. You know what? No. No. From a person that wasn't raised in an elven society, I know both sides are messed up.
I was talking in general. I mean, like,
I know the
legitimately,
elves.
you have the half-elves and elves, who the half-elves die on behalf of the elves, even though the elves don't care, and the elves only produce half-elves to go to war. While the orcs, on the other hand, actively try to fight and hunt and do all this stuff because their entire culture is survival of the fittest.
Well,
You give
that
it...
elf thing's not true.
Uh-huh. Keep telling yourself that. Anyway, like Bill was saying...
Listen, I wasn't made to go to war. They let
You-
Ellie leave.
Bill looks at you for a second. You're a scout.
I don't
You actively
that-
work for your father. You're a warrior, more or less. You've probably killed people under his order. Rowena, you are literally the last person who can say
I
that.
chose that.
Rowena, what would you
I
do
wasn't
to
forced
make
into
Dad
it.
happy with you? What are the things you would
Wait,
do
hold on, I
to
can't
climb
hear
the
you,
ranks
Ellie.
for him? Oh my gosh, sorry.
No,
What
that's
would
my
you
fault.
do
Here's my
to make
headphones.
Dad happy about what you're doing in life? Like, you climb the ranks, you want to make him proud and everything. What would you do to do that?
I don't necessarily want to make him happy. I just want to keep him safe.
Okay. Nonetheless, it's still a matter of we separated because it was whoever was born first stayed, which means you were, in a sense, expected to help him climb the ranks because he already messed up as is,
No.
having half elf kids.
He I suppose I've never really discussed this part, but he encouraged me to not go into the army.
Anyway,
Mm.
regardless of
Reverse psychology?
who knows.
No, for real. I tried to. Bill, you never went into my room, did you?
Me? I went all around
Yeah,
your
didn't
house.
you go into my house?
Yeah, I met your
Did you
mom.
go in my room?
I went all over your house. Do you think I'm not Snoopy?
No, but I'm just saying, like, in
Plus,
my room.
the general point I'm making is that whether you look at it from an elven perspective or an orcish perspective, the orcs are very savage and very war hungry. But at the same time, they only are really that way because of the circumstances. They would probably be more barbaric and probably fight amongst themselves more if they weren't fighting a war, being relatively harmless to outsiders. The elves, if they kept to themselves and weren't trying to, hope Halo or whatever, they probably would be a lot calmer and would treat half elves better. Which may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. That the point stands that both races would likely be a lot more manageable, and there'd be a lot less, this and half elf deaths that are heavily unnecessary. But elves are cowards. Full elves, not y'all. Just to clarify, y'all ain't cowards. Most half elves I've met at this point have honestly been some of the braver people I've met. But the same does not apply to full
No.
elves.
Full elves aren't cowards either.
They are.
It takes them a long time to get their information and their abilities. They're protecting assets.
Rowena, respectfully, I've watched your elves turn tail and run while half elves died on their behalf. If you want to keep lying to yourself, that's
protecting
fine.
assets.
Your people are not assets, they're
Do you know how
murderers.
long it takes for them to mature?
Do you think I care?
So they
Do you
gotta
think
protect
anyone
Saying
actually
they're
to make
cowards,
cares?
then you
more
should.
elves.
They are cowards. They run from fights. You say protecting assets, I call cowardice. While they have people like you, like Eleonora, like Avrin, either rotting in the slums or out on their battlefield on their behalf, dying and being left there as wandering souls. And then you have the stupid orcs. I don't know if Big Mom's still here, but
She is not now.
yeah, who actively are one step away from creating a horde of revenants at any moment. You know how dangerous revenants are? There's a reason bards like me exist. If either side of this conflict, if the spirits get that restless, which I'm surprised the elves don't have half-elf revenants on their doorstep already. You know how many people would die because of a revenant's want for revenge is endless and boundless. I call cowardice where I see the truth. I don't like
why
this war as much
hasn't
as anyone.
happened then?
I don't know, and that's the concerning part. Something's
Maybe it's
preventing
because
it.
they're not so revenge hungry.
You and I both know that's not true.
Not necessarily. As I said, there are a good number of elves, half elves, that choose to go into the army. Most of them, in fact.
You could keep believing that if you want to, but I've seen enough at this point that my mind's made up. I've seen
Listen,
what I
I'm
need.
not saying either side is more correct than the other. I agree with you guys in that the war should end. I'm just saying, if you see redemptive qualities in the orcs, there's obviously redemptive qualities in the elves too.
Maybe one's outside of the Citadel, but I would need to talk to more people
No.
in the Citadel to get my answer.
Gotta learn all the information you can before you make the deciding factor.
I agree. Everyone has redeemable qualities, but it takes time and it takes getting to know what their true forms are, what their true intentions are.
Regardless, the council itself, I don't have any faith that they have any redeeming qualities given how many they've sent to die. And given me meeting the paladin there and how he's just locked in a tower more or less, and they don't use him for anything, and they leave him there to rot, I have no faith. At least in the
I
leadership.
can't speak on that. I've never even seen it.
Walking through the town of the Citadel, people seemed happy. Bill puts in air quotes. But I didn't take enough time to talk to your average elf. Regardless, at least from an army perspective, your people are rotten. The Citadel people specifically. Because that much death should not happen. That many screaming souls should not be a thing. There at least should be some respect given. At least from my
Well, it's
perspective.
not like they went in and killed themselves. The orcs killed them.
Have you ever heard the term marching to your death?
It takes two sides to have a battle.
And yet the orcs take the time to retrieve their dead. What's the excuse of the elves?
Too many.
Bill,
Bullshit.
Bill,
What?
she is not the problem.
I know.
And
I know.
she is simply from there. And she has changed since leaving the Citadel for so long. So will the others. They just have to experience not being under the influence or experience change, that there is something more to their lives than just marching on to just be killed.
I just don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to see just so many souls.
Neither do I.
Dead.
This is why we are on this journey. This is why we've left our original places. And it got us to this point. We're here to be the catalyst to everyone's lives because they're stuck letting life drag them along because they don't think there's anything else for them.
Regardless, we need to make a stop at the Trail of Bloody Tears. I have a dragon to talk to.
Of course.
Well, I need to go do some scouting stuff, so I'll catch up with you guys later.
That's all right. Ellie's going to rest, just kind of, I guess, hit her head against Jackson as just a, like, finally breathe moment.
Mm-hmm. He'll probably put his hand around your waist and just kind of like hold you there for a second.
This is tiring.
Yeah.
I am beyond exhausted, not even physically at this point.
Maybe
We're
we should
inside of a war far over our heads.
Maybe we should make our way back to the Dwarven land. At the very least, that area is reasonably safe at the moment.
There's a
This
couple
is
of days
true.
to get back over there, less if we take the reverse shortcut. I memorized most of the location we went when the salamander newt thing showed us it, so that can guide us back. We have a month.
That'd be best.
We can take a moment to
Yep.
rest.
That would be good. Though we need to gather up our thoughts.
At this point, the only thing I've really got is something to deal with the illness. At the very least, it's going to probably slow down the preparation for the war, as well as hit the claws of the primary weapon they're planning to use, which is probably going to require a little bit of extra time for some sort of plan, but at the end of the day, it's not going to sign out the end of said war. And that much I can promise you.
I don't know what our next step is, but we can figure it out inside the Dwarven lands. I assume Rowena will be able to join us there once she's done with her scouting.
Probably. I've got to figure out how to convince a dragon to... Any ideas? Coming up blank right now.
Convince him to what?
More or less become a terror on the trail for a while to prevent... Basically give us more time.
I have no idea. He seemed to enjoy attacking the little dragons.
I suppose with the right type of concoction, you could probably make the equivalence of how do you explain it? Some sort of like sprayed perfume or something along those lines.
I don't know
Just
what
tell
the
him
most-
instead of
Right
resting
smell.
in the clouds, just rest on the land.
Are you talking about how to distribute your, thing? Oliver?
Well, that could probably be used on the same general concept, but I was actually talking about how to assist Bill in attracting the dragon that he apparently wants to talk to again.
Ah. Frankly, I think you could probably just shout up to the heavens again. That seemed to work last time.
Right, so keep the transdimensional rope trick available.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
rather not experience, he stares at Averin, another party member almost dying.
I
So-
mean,
It was almost only the once. Or
he ignored me. He called me boring. I would
Hmm.
like to fight Loki.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's a good plan to fight a dragon, hun.
You know what?
Especially when you're the size of its eyeball.
I just want to talk to Loki, okay?
You just said you wanted to fight him.
Well, I'm
You want to talk to the dragon? You can do it through Sending Stone. I don't think it's a good idea to approach it.
That's a good plan, actually. Yeah, Bill, you could just shout into your sending stone, can't you?
I mean, I could, but I still got to figure out what to say.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
And the fact that I have limited words with Sending Stone may not be a good thing.
True. Tell him to sleep in the middle of the trail?
leave
What
his
would-
tail hanging down. Sorry, bad joke.
Hey, they'll be chasing that tail all day. No?
I mean,
I mean, it keep Ezekiel busy. Speaking of, before we go far, Ellie's
Mhm.
going to pull out the necklace from her bag.
The fireball one?
No.
Oh.
The one of Ezekiel's brother.
Oh, God, I forgot you had that.
Yes, I have it.
Hold on, let's see, because you guys are there. Well, I
wanna
would say that probably Rowena had asked for her fireball necklace back, so that would be on her now, by the way.
Oh my goodness,
that's fine.
yes.
Just
I
so
keep
we don't forget
forgetting.
that again. So let's see. Let me move you guys over to the world map real quick. Oops, okay. I guess you guys are on the world map. Cool. So you guys were right there. Rowena, we're gonna put you right there. Dunk. So you guys are right there, roughly speaking. As you pull out the necklace. Actually, that's a good point. It pulls you this way.
Hold on, my
Fascinating.
screen's not up.
To the west.
Deeper into Cataclysm. Great.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have to go see him, but it was just a thought. Supposedly his brother is also a paladin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where that pulls you. You guys are welcome to go chase it. You guys don't actually know how far it is either. I believe Ezekiel said just not to let go of it because otherwise it would start flying. But essentially just tugging you to the west.
Well, if we'd like, we can go find out about his brother. Ezekiel did say that his brother is a paladin of sorts.
It could be interesting. I don't know if that would help us too much, at least right now, but we are the closest we're gonna be to him. What do you think, Avron?
Mhm.
Think we should go find Ezekiel's brother, or do you think we should let him come to us?
To be honest, I don't really care. I
Fair.
Look, I'm not the planner here. I'm just following the rest of you.
I mean, if we go back to the Citadel, we're simply going to spread the disease, but that still gives them a month to find out how to cure the disease.
Indeed.
Maybe Ezekiel's brother will have clues on the disease? I don't know. I don't know the guy.
If Ezekiel did not, I don't think his brother would.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to figure out, even if we infect the Citadel with the disease, Oliver's concoction, why would that make the orcs decide not to march?
'Cause they're all dead? Oh, no, wait. We're not killing them.
We need to make it to where there is an impossibility for the march.
Mm-hmm.
If too many people are sick and ailing, the problem is trying to make the illness kind enough but cruel enough at the same time so that they don't march. And that's the tricky part that sits on Oliver's shoulders, and that's why it's heavy on him.
Indeed. Do not envy you, alchemist.
I know. I barely even have the idea as to what sort of elemental makeup it has to have. And it just says, with a frustrated tone, staring at the feather. And I still have no idea if this is even going to be pure enough.
I mean, a dragon sitting in the middle of the battlefield sounds pretty intimidating enough.
Yeah.
After the discussion we just had with them, I'm pretty sure her getting killed off by a dragon would probably be something they'd view as glorious. She just said as a frustrated tone.
What I'm curious about is if the weapons of war have any effect on this as well. You know? Because we still have that to deal with. There's one weapon we haven't encountered yet.
Oh, shit.
Did you forget?
Wait. What did we forget? What?
Ha! Yeah, I did. Ah, shit. Okay,
You
hold on.
fucking DM!
No.
Wait.
Wait. How
What-
do I
what
describe
happened?
his axe?
What
Oh my
happened?
god. Oh my gosh. He
I was-
forgot a key point. One of the key points to the freaking
It's
campaign.
been like
One of the things we're
5
supposed to.
months.
No, it hasn't.
Huh?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Anyway,
Oh, right.
you have the sword, the fucking axe that Bloodtooth has, the bow that Dad has, and
I think you said like you said like the axe was like forged with blood or
The
something.
soul-
Okay, I did
That
describe it properly. Alright,
Okay, good.
cool. See, I knew my subconscious would come in handy. I knew I said it properly. Alright, cool. Continue, Ellie. I think I killed her, guys.
Oh, but you didn't kill me.
Just the sheer rage.
Anyway,
I
we
did
still have
remember
those
it
to deal
properly,
with.
though.
Okay. Anyway, we still have those. We believe that the bow is affecting Dad. In a sense that he's become more violent, malicious in a sense. And who knows, maybe Bloodtooth's weapon is the same idea. We know that Rigor Mortis is Dr. Mortis's sickle is the same idea because it tried calling out to Bill when he had it. So,
Yeah, I really hate the fact that I'm probably gonna have to call upon him for another project sometime in the future.
we need to end this war. We have a month to somehow get the elves busy enough to not go to war, but we have to make sure they don't have enough time to find the cure to fight. On top of that, I don't know how the weapons will correspond in this result. It may even just still try to push them to fight, even though there's nowhere to, or there's no people to use, there's no fodder. I don't know. There's too many variables in this situation to find out. But we should just try to figure it out step by step, whether that is to find Ezekiel's brother, who may or may not have information, considering he's a traveling paladin that's not in Helios, is surprising enough. But
Indeed.
I digress.
I think is interesting that we did not feel anything from Bloodtooth's weapon.
That is true.
Wait, but if his axe isn't one of the cataclysmic weapons, then where's the fourth?
We were told before that the weapon was a blood red sword that was forged in some way, shape, or form similar to the sickle and the bow. So I'm not sure if that was the weapon or if it simply changed. We don't know very much about the weapons themselves. We've also never seen it in combat, and that seems to be what it thrives on.
This is true.
So what I'm very curious on is if that weapon only activates once it's fed blood. And if that is correct, then maybe that's why he's been alive for so long.
So if these things are primarily at their peak power when they're regularly used in combat, then hey Rowena, how frequently is Paylor? She's not here. He just mutters under his breath.
She's gone.
Yes,
You
like,
okay there, Doc?
above game, I did in fact know that. It's just like a
Yeah.
crap. That's another thing you probably would want to ask later.
Yeah, Jax is just like, you okay, Doc?
We could.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm alright. I've just got a lot on my head right now.
If you have a question, Oliver.
We can also just call her one.
I don't think this question's as important at the moment. I was just going to ask how regularly do you think her dad goes into combat?
Maybe sparring matches. I have no idea. I don't know how often her dad does stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know mine drinks a lot.
To be fair, he is a Citadel commander. It's He likely spars a lot, but probably rarely goes into the battle himself. I believe Master said, why send the commander to die when you can send a grunt instead?
It's an old tactic.
Is it?
It's a common one.
There's a reason that my old mentor he's had it hammered into my head. War is just the action of someone and running out to fight for someone no less than 3 times as bloodthirsty as all of his compatriots.
Yeah, that's why Master went and became a hermit. He didn't like the idea of the war. Said it was pointless a lot of the time.
It's much more effective just to end the source instead of fighting the symptom.
True, but we can only focus on it from the other side and work our way backwards at this point, at this stage.
Yeah. It is a very curious question on what is the 4th item and where could it be. So far, there's been nothing that has really exemplified the items to us, aside from...
Sorry, what items are we talking about again?
No, the items...
Yeah, I've just looks up at you. It's like, what?
Jackson looks at you and he's just like, oh, it's... Ellie told me that y'all were looking for 4 different items, apocalyptic weapons apparently. One was a sickle that y'all found deep down in the death. One is the bow that Rowena's father apparently has, and another one is possibly the axe that Bloodtooth was holding, or maybe he has a sword somewhere that we don't know where he is. But we aren't quite sure what the 4th one is. That's
Oh, I think you mentioned those apocalyptic when you first met, and I was confused.
Yes. Do you know of a 4th highly powerful weapon that could potentially be used to end the entire world? Doesn't necessarily have to be a weapon, I don't think.
Well, the
No?
story's told that it would be a pendant of sorts, that the weapons over the years never changed except one, for greed.
Greed. Change. How so?
Hold on. You don't think it was
The
that...
shape or item, it could be anything as long as it's for greed.
You don't think it was that chalice that Mashruna ate, do you?
Definitely not. Something so powerful to affect a war. I don't think it'd be eaten so easily by a goblin.
Because back in the slums, we always just hid our shiny things away. Or flaunted it, but pretty subtly.
You would know, Averin, that there was one consistency inside of the slums. If anything else could be, twisted or turned or, promises broken, there's one thing that could always be guaranteed. No one had money except Tommy.
So greed. Back in the slums, there was always one person who never. There was always Tommy, powerful, but in a subtle way. Not
the bartender?
He was more than a bartender. To us, at least. Slums culture, Did I ever tell you about how I owed Tommy? Quite a bit.
Yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if half the slums owed him.
I mean, Jackson owed Tommy quite a bit as well, and I paid it off as well as other damages that were caused by the team.
Aww. How much was it?
We're not going to talk.
Well, back in the slums, it was always a vying for survival sort of situation. You could scam, you could kill, you could get away with just about anything if you were good enough at it. I tried to scam Tommy once, or well, not less scam, more steal from him, and it didn't work out. You always owe Tommy something. Most everyone. Just if anyone's sort of going to be a top of greed, that's who I think of at least. I don't know if that helps at all, but I have to pay him a visit eventually anyways. I did tell them that he had a force field, so I'm honestly just curious how that worked out.
Hopefully they didn't just burn his bar to the ground.
I doubt it. With Tommy.
You have heard a story a couple times before. A lot of stories were passed around in the slums. This is one of the only things that they could do to pass the time. But you have heard a couple of stories that someone did try to burn down his bar. A couple of times, actually. No one knows exactly how long Tommy's been there. No matter how many stories you've heard, no matter how many years they go back, people always refer to Tommy as Tommy. And it's the same Tommy, at least in the stories, over and over again. Always the bartender. You never actually know if people are making up or if the dates are wrong or anything like that. No one has concrete dates. But it's always the same Tommy over and over and over and over again, no matter how far back you go. You assume they just really like naming their kids Tommy. Honestly, it's the assumption. And a couple of times they've tried burning down the bar. They've tried using Molotovs. They've tried using fireball spells. They've tried all kinds of manners. And it has, in fact, burned down to the ground 3 times. And every single time, it's always come back.
Yeah, I relay that story.
Weirdly enough, it always comes back looking the exact same. Usually a couple of weeks after. How reliable that information is incredibly debatable.
Yes, everything in the slums could be vastly exaggerated, and I would not be surprised. But considering I'm hearing about apocalyptic relics and immortal gods, and gods inside of people, it could be
Stares Ellie
possible that
down.
Tommy is some sort of unnatural demigod of deals and scams.
Well, that's a bit concerning to think of.
Once you hear that coin being flipped, you've got eyes on your back.
More than you've already got.
Jackson will kind of raise an eyebrow at that, and he'll go,
Does
he
he
did
always
have a
have that
coin, didn't he?
He was always flipping one, I think.
Never really thought about it till now. I only
Oh,
did
yeah, I
odd
also-
jobs for him.
I also need to go get more booze from him.
Just make sure to ask what they cost first.
Oh,
Never assume
yeah.
that his drinks are free.
Oh, no. They're free for me. I paid him a platinum, and he looked at me and said that I can have as much cheap booze as I wanted.
Well, you did give him platinum.
If anyone's going to be greed, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Tommy, considering he basically has control over the source of food and drink for the slums.
Exactly. If you have a monopoly on something like that down there, you're basically all powerful.
That's a deeply concerning thought, but how can a coin be a relic of power?
It's the slums. Money, food, power. It's basically a language down there.
Wait, if that's the case, then that technically means there's 3 apocalyptic relics in the slum or in the citadel.
Okay, what's up with the Citadel? Why is it that the Citadel is such a weird place? You have good people, you have bad people, you have power-hungry people, you have amazing people, you have Tommy, and that weird guy in the down bowl. Like, Bill is, like, over-exaggerating his arms and everything. Like, he's flapping around and everything. What is up with that place?
Maybe the apocalyptic weapons are cursing it.
I don't know. I'm as confused as everyone else at this point. I don't know of what you should do. I have a kind of a plan, but not really. I kind of lied and didn't lie to the orc chieftain, so that's a thing.
Oh?
Yeah. I have a plan. I can't really talk about it because you never know who's listening. But I told the orc chieftain kind of about it because I figured that would give us more time. It kind of did, kind of didn't. I don't know what to do. I just need. All I know at this point is talk to the dragon.
I just like stares at Bill for like 10 and 15 seconds, just like, how fast should we be running right now?
I don't know. You know I'm bad with math.
Well, I'm deeply concerned by this entire interaction. So we have an apocalyptic weapon that I guess feeds on blood. And then we have 3 possibly apocalyptic weapons that are inside the Citadel, and not only the top, middle, but also the bottom?
Yes. Actually, no. I'm certain at least one of those. Because that sickle did its own little voodoo stuff. Bill, like, waves his arms in a weird, like, manner. Weird voodoo stuff. It tried to control people's brains and make them bow. I took that personally. And I tried to burn it. It didn't work.
You tried to burn an apocalyptic weapon of unknown origin and nature because it told you to bow?
Yes.
How
I bow to no
yeah.
one.
Yeah, fair.
My reaction to the weapon was up yours through a Molotov into the line of Myconid people protecting it, threw a Molotov on top of it, picked it up, and took it with us, and brought it back to that weird lobotomy guy. What was it again, Oliver?
Rigor mortis. He was a former Chirurgian, I think is the best word to phrase it.
Another living legend of the slums.
Oh yeah, you weren't there. They're just casually talking about one of the largest myths of your entire life.
I'm still impressed. How did you find that fellow? He's goodness.
You know that big hole that's in the slums that just keeps going down?
Mm-hmm.
We had
jumped
a bunch
down
of
it.
ropes together to get down there.
I thought we jumped.
No, I
You did
don't
both.
I didn't have enough resources to get all of us back up.
Oh right, Bill jumped.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Here I thought you couldn't get stranger. You
Isn't
jumped
that
down
pit
the
like
hole.
200 feet?
Featherfall is a wonderful spell.
No one ever comes back from up there. From down there.
I can understand why. There's a lot of weird junk down there. A bunch of mushrooms, sentient mushrooms. Allie, didn't you say you saw a mimic?
If
I
Ellie's
remember.
there.
Above game, I actually was the one that found the mimic. I was able to suss it out because I cast Thaumaturgy on the lid to try and get it to open up. Or to close. Yeah, it was open up. And it reacted as if there was something in front of it instead.
Oh, where did Ellie go?
We have lost
She
Ellie.
died. I ate her.
Yeah, it was. So we have the bow, the sickle, the coin, and he was holding the axe.
Indeed. We were told it was a sword, but maybe it changed over time.
Mm.
Can
Or
this
maybe he's
get any
hiding
more
it.
complicated?
I'm sure it could.
I would love to. I was about to say no, but but I have always been proven wrong, and I don't want to again. And with situations like these,
You know, that hole that you jumped down. Some of us in the slums, we like to call that the dumpster in the dumpster, because people like to throw trash down there occasionally when they're so inclined. I mean, usually we keep our trash, but we sometimes they throw it, and then because the running joke between us is that the slums is basically the Citadel's dumpster, because
It is.
wait, really? There was a lot of fancy crystals down there. Look, this was down there too. He just says, handing her the clear, unaspected crystal.
Sorry, I'm back. I thought it was an emergency phone call. Turns out it's not.
You're good.
because a lot of the people in the slums usually we all think of ourselves as forsaken by the hoity-toity high elves up there. So where the slums is the Citadel's trash. It's quite funny if you think about it.
I mean, they do plan on poisoning everyone in the slums.
Exactly.
As Bill hands you the crystal, by the way, it is the largest quantity of magic, like mana, that you've ever felt in a single object before. It's honestly kind of invigorating. Avern.
Sorry, I saw a thing in the chat.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I said as Bill hands you the
Wasn't
crystal.
Bill.
Huh?
Oliver. It
You
was
did what?
Oliver, not Bill. It was Oliver, not Bill, with the
Oh,
crystal.
Oliver did. Yeah, sorry. Oliver hands you a crystal. It's a very unremarkable crystal. It's slightly glowing blue, but is by and far the most significant quantity of mana that you've ever felt in a single object before.
Oh, goodness. Maybe it goes with my red gem.
Wait,
Oh God!
These are all
No
over the
one
place
knows
down
about
there.
your red gem.
I'm showing it off. I gave it to like Oliver, I think, or something, to like
No,
examine
you
it. And make
mentioned
sure...
that you wanted him to look
Oh.
at it, but you never once pulled it out.
Oh, really?
Nope, you
No, you
never
were
once
always
pulled-
protective of actually letting him try to examine it.
Oh,
You've never once
yeah, that
shown
checks
it
out.
off.
That checks out.
Oh, I love that.
I'll make a rainbow crystal collection.
Wait, what? You got another one?
Oh, did I forget to show you the one that I stole from the bank that one time? The museum.
Excuse me?
Sorry, the museum. Sorry, I was drunk at the time. Did I not give it to you to... Oh. I pull out my red gem of assumedly death and demise or something.
Yeah.
He just like
See?
stares at you. He just
Don't
stares
they
at you.
match?
He just stares between her and the crystal a couple times. Just like, I'll say it again. Excuse me?
See, they match.
As you pull out the red gem, Oliver, roll me Arcana real quick.
I swear I've had you look at this at least once.
As you're looking at it, you feel a sensation of uncomfortableness. Like the very act of looking at this kind of just like gives you a little bit goosebumps.
Oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if this turned out to be the fourth apocalypse object? That would be hilarious, right, guys?
Give me 10 minutes. It just says face palming. They said, I'm going to ritual cast identify.
Okie dokie. I put this, let's see. I wrote this down on April 14th. Let me put it down. So you ritual cast it, you start pretty much grabbing it and, well, like looking over and everything like that. So essentially, let me just double check this isn't bad. Yes, okay. There you go. Yes, there you go. You vaguely know the beginning part, but don't worry about that. That's essentially what you got at the museum. Inside the casual chat. So when you hold on to it, you gain a +1 bonus to all attack and damage rolls made with spells. Every one of them that you have. Additionally, once per day, you can use the gem as an action to unleash the powerful burst of magical energy that does 6d6 necrotic damage to all creatures within a 20-foot radius. However, you must make a DC 15 saving throw or you suffer 1 level of exhaustion.
Oh my goodness. I should be holding this more often. This has been in the bottom of my bag for who knows how long. I'm just like holding this like assumedly an eldritch weapon of mass destruction.
You're just gonna weaponize that thing?
It certainly does hold to its name, being a bloodstone, where it feels like it's bleeding. Like that's the only way you can explain it, is that looking at it feels like it's about to start bleeding onto your hand.
Oh yeah, over the past several 100 years, alchemy's been picked up and thrown out and half a billion times because of how dangerous it is. And yet we still have stuff like this!
But yeah, you know, you now have that item now, so... Oh wow, yeah, 66 at max damage almost knocks out Rowena.
I could kill you with this.
Does it? Actually, no, wouldn't that be 36, Rowena?
To actually kill someone outright, you need to do double, or you need to reach
down,
them to
yeah.
a negative number equal to their max HP, I believe, in one hit.
Yeah, that do half your health, Rowena.
Well, okay, I couldn't kill you with this, but Ollie, you look fairly fragile. I'm sure I could kill you with this at least.
God,
Stop
ouch.
looking at me like that.
Let's not do that right now.
I wasn't
Please.
actually going to do it. I'm just.
I
saying.
spent several months getting Rowena not to kill him. Okay? Let's not.
You know what's
I have a
really
dagger
funny?
that can kill all of you.
What's really, really funny is actually Oliver looks the second most healthy of your entire group. You and Ellie die for the lowest HP.
I rolled well on my DA 8 HP.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay, look, to me, you look like you'd rather go like through the library and like read books and stuff, than go out and fight things. So you look pretty scrawny to me as a person who comes from the slums. So you look like I could kill you with this. Just saying.
This conversation is deeply concerning me. Can we talk about something else, please?
I mean, to be fair, none of you exactly look unbeatable. Well, none of us do. We're a very not intimidating group of people. I mean, the most intimidating person here, technically, I would count Oliver, because people don't seem to like him very much. And people think I'm food. I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, you are.
I mean, roast you over a fire and like...
Yeah, but... Oh, so I'd probably taste really gamey and probably not that good.
Yeah, that would be kind of unfortunate.
Also, the fact that I can kind of just, casually, drip acid, I don't think my meat would be very tasty.
I think I'm just gonna go over there and start setting up a camp or something. It just starts walking out to the woods.
No,
You
I'd
go
say
in the woods today.
It's okay, Oliver. I'll make sure no one hurts you.
Yeah, I mean, I
would I
think I
hurt
look pretty
Oliver?
intimidating. I mean, I'm no blood tooth or anything, but I look rascally at least.
No.
I mean,
You're cute.
I would give you depends on what's happening. If no one's touching your money, a 2. If somebody's touching your money, a 7.
That's fair, I guess. You do realize I have fought people before. I mean, I don't usually attempt to fight people, but I can worm my way through a fight if required.
I mean, sure, you're intimidating. The fact that you have a bounty on you, and who knows how strong and scary the people coming after you are, just you're not scary. I mean, Jackson used to do bounties, and
Okay.
he would cut off people's tongues, right?
I'm going to take the first part of that as a compliment and ignore the second half. Okay?
I mean, to be fair, the only person I expect to not have killed anyone here is Oliver.
Exactly.
I've spent a lot of time doing a lot of bounty hunting.
On purpose.
I hope you're not bounty hunting me.
No. You're her teammate.
Would you be
What
bounty
is your
hunting
bounty
me?
exactly, though, Averin? Just out of professional curiosity.
Hold on, what was it again, actually?
Your bounty is like 200 platinum.
I believe I gave the wanted poster to Ellie, actually.
Mhm.
I think it was 200 platinum or so.
Ellie pulls out the wanted poster. It's like, yep, right here with your pretty picture on it, 200 platinum.
Wow,
How
that's...
good is the picture on it, by the way?
Hold on, let's see how good this this picture is of you real quick.
I want to see if it's the
It's
Flynn Rider
okay.
meme.
Flint Rider meme. No, it's the Sanji meme. It's a fairly good representation of you, except there's like a one detail, like your cheek, or like your hand is like misdone, or like your oh, I know, your jaw. They messed up your jaw really badly.
They messed up my jaw and they got the tear mark on the wrong side. Can you believe this? At least they got my hair pretty nice. I mean, look at that. See, this is the fade into the black, from the black into the red. Very nice. Top marks. Everything else is eh.
But that's a lot of platinum. It's a lot of platinum.
will.
Honey, you better not be thinking about turning her in.
Would you like an incentive to
No.
not hunt me or something?
What incentive could you give me?
I tentatively give him a platinum. Don't kill me. I would have given you. Look, I would have given you a gold, but you and Ellie are pretty close, so.
Oh my god. He kind of looks at you with slight confusion as he takes it. He's just like, oh, it's actually a really good incentive. Thank you.
Because I like you a bit.
Oh, thank you. Should I be
Only
worried that you're gonna
You're not
steal
very
this?
high on this. You're not very high on my tier list in relative to others, but you're fairly high on there. A. A little bit between an A and a B. Depends on the day.
I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't give me a sandwich.
Ellie's still glaring at Jackson. Ellie's still glaring at Averin,
What?
seeing Jackson's hand.
I mean,
He's kind of tapping on your hand.
oh, by the way, we should make food.
Right. Well, let's journey to the dwarven area then. I don't know how many drinks I could buy with this.
Oh, I thought you were going to say journey to the west.
Technically,
We
going
can
east.
go to the west. That's where the necklace is pointing.
Eh.
Hey, by the way, what's down here in the Umbral Wastes?
Oh, that's he kind of like looks at the map and he's like, oh yeah, that's where all the goblins are.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Half of them, he kind of gestures to this side right here, are rumored to be mushroom goblins.
Oh, like Runa.
She was
Like
a
the person I
weird
don't know.
case. She was a very weird case. Most of them are like, they don't have a mushroom growing out of them. They are half mushroom.
Oh.
Yeah. And goblins eat everything, by the way, including each other. So it's a dangerous place.
I wonder what a goblin tastes like then. What? It's a legitimate question. If they're eating each other, they have to taste at least like. Well, to be fair, we ate metal and thought it was good. Probably not very great.
I don't think I've ever wondered how a goblin mushroom creature tastes, but
Then you've never been starving.
you know, sure, yeah. He just looks confused at you.
I mean, what? Is it really that weird to wonder how things taste?
Depends on if they can talk.
Ellie's just still standing there quietly, tapping on Jackson's hand.
He's kind of tapping back to you. I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry about it. Gonna get a lot of drinks.
I'ma
We're gonna go
kill
back to
people.
Mercy. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Won't disappear yet. Don't worry about it.
Excuse you.
So, shall we go to the Paladin, or shall we go to the dwarves? Get drunk, possibly fall unconscious on some kind of bench somewhere, and hope that we don't have to do anything further.
I think we have some time to find the paladin and then get back to the dwarves. I mean, it shouldn't be too far, right?
Yeah, about probably 2-day journey to the west, to get to the edge of the continent. So he'll probably be somewhere within those
also-
2 days.
Also, if need be, we still have that Mrs. Claus teleportation, so.
Oh yeah. You never did tell me how that worked.
Oh, we
Or-
just. I don't remember fully how it works. I think Oliver has the instructions.
Well, sounds concerning. Oliver?
He walked away.
Oh, right.
Oh no! I didn't
he
catch
just kind of looks over to where Oliver walked away. It's just like, oh,
Well, I believe you just have to draw a circle on the wall and it'll just pop up her door or something like that. I know it's a really simple thing. We haven't used it since Circadia, so.
you make the weirdest friends.
Yeah, I do. But I
Well,
love them
let's-
so.
Let's go over to Oliver, take a camp, find the paladin, and we'll go on from there. I believe also, he kind of looks at the map again. Yeah, that's, well, if he's over there, that's gonna be a problem. He kind of gestures to this little weird rundown, almost ruins on the map. It's just a bunch of buildings and stuff on the map. This is a very old, ruins of a city. It was rumored a long time ago this was a city of the damned, per se, with the dead all around and some kind of ruler that watched over the area, something like that. No one really knew much more than that, obviously. So if we manage to get all the way over there, well, we have to really hope those rumors are wrong.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
Well,
we can go over to the place with the nice beds instead and the shiny things.
this
I mean,
is true.
it's a bunch of ruins, so there might be shiny things. Someone might have left something very important there, like gold.
But I don't want to
It wouldn't
sleep on
take us too
stone
long.
again.
I'm sure there's beds in the ruin. Well, they're probably eaten.
Yeah, you're probably eaten and rotten and have like gross bugs that'll kill you.
Good protein.
You know, the shiny things are probably broken because it's ruins. I mean, maybe there'll be something valuable and that'd be nice. But like, It's not comfy.
Well,
It's like
then
when you
we'll
it's
hope.
like when you go to sleep in like a rotten house or something, and then like as you're sleeping, the bed falls out from underneath you, and you hurt your back over it, and then you have to like wander through the streets with a bad back, and you can't run as well because everything got broken because the bed fell out from underneath you while you were sleeping.
I feel like these are memories from your childhood.
Yeah,
I'm so
bad
sorry.
time. It's all right. It only happened 3 times.
Well, let's just hope that he's not in the ruins, you know. It does say dead west, so, it's kind of likely. But maybe he'll move down. Or up. Moves up into the ocean, though we might be in trouble. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really want to go, swimming.
The
Yeah.
heck? I mean, I've never been swimming.
Me
I don't know if I
neither.
can swim. Hey,
There's
how
no-
do you swim?
I have no idea. There's hardly any bats in the slums, so
You-
there's no ocean either. So
Usually you move your hands, and you move your feet, and your legs, and your arms, and you just kind of float.
that's very informative, Jackson.
It's fine, you know. Usually, you know, the rivers we used for fighting more than we did for swimming, but yeah, you just kind of. He kind of like moves his hands. It just kind of like flaps his arms a little bit, and he starts like kind of like raising a foot and kicking.
Ellie's
And he's like,
laughing.
you just kind of float.
Yes, can you do that with more exaggeration? I need to really feel like I'm there. Yeah, just kind of lean a little bit more into it. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, you just do. If you do
Ellie's
it much
falls to
harder,
the
you
ground
just get to
laughing.
float.
Uh-huh.
I do it with a full lung of air too, so you gotta like breathe really deep, and then wah, 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 wah.
Mhm. Yes, I
My
see.
goodness. She absolutely fooled you. You're
Mhm.
Jackson Gray. Goodness. Some kind of bounty hunter you were to be fooled by such a half elf.
Mhm.
Well, you know, I assume that she'll need to learn how to swim once I throw her in the ocean.
Please
Fair
don't.
point.
Please don't. That just reminded me of the meme of like, no, don't do that.
Mhm.
He just kind of nods at you, and he's just like, yeah, well, teach you how to float real quick. So, let's go into the camp, get ready, and then set off on the adventure towards, I guess, the ruined city. It's gonna be a long week.
Yep. And for the love of gods, if I get a dream tonight, I'm going to scream.
Question.
I'm
Scream
sure
at
they
them
probably
or
won't visit
scream
you.
at us? Because if you scream,
What was that?
scream at them or scream with us. Because you scream with us, everyone's pulling out their weapons and probably going to be looking for enemies. Scream at them, and it's just going to be funny.
I'm just gonna scream at them.
Cool.
Be like, hey, look my new wings. Poof.
Now, has everybody here met Shar and Paylor besides me? Or
I haven't.
I have dealt with them on a day-to-day fucking basis, and you guys decided to think it was cool to see them as well. When it could have been just only me dealing with them.
so
To be
I've
fair,
heard.
Technically, Oliver's only talked with Paylor indirectly, I believe. Unless he had like a dream of him or something.
You know, I hate the gods as much as you guys, but I'm honestly starting to feel a little bit left out of the immortal
I know, it's so
shindig.
sad, right? You know, we don't even have to deal with like the immortal beings of, I guess, one's an asshole and one is. He kind of looks
They're
at Ellie. Seductive?
Creepy? Yeah, seductive?
I
and
would just
creepy?
call them both jerks.
One's a jerk, one's a weirdo.
yeah.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so like,
One's a controlling freak, and one's there for the chaos.
Yeah.
So, our group?
Hmm.
Yes.
Wait, which one's the controlling freak?
Honestly, I've yet to figure that one out.
Sure.
Fair.
I'm sure we'll find someone who fits that bill kind of nicely, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it was a little bit weird that when Ellie suddenly grew wings, we only got to hear her side of the story. Didn't hear the other. I was in the realm where
Well,
the gods lived, and
okay.
somehow I managed to sneak through past them the entire time. Omnipotent my foot. What? Really?
I'm
Cadence
still
didn't
quite
have
amazed you didn't
nice
see them.
words. So
You know, maybe
Yeah.
they'll visit you, Averin. Maybe they'll be mad at you. Did you leave any kind of trail as to your existence and presence when you, I guess,
I
got
snuck out
drunk?
the person they were trying to. Oh, no, when I was drunk? Oh, I wasn't drunk in the realm. No, I mean, I
Oh.
snuck out the person that they'd been flipping,
But did they
hiding and
know it
shattered
was
across.
you?
Honestly, I don't know.
Did you leave any trails behind? Did you have ethereal footprints, I guess?
My feet don't make sound. I tried to be silent as possible.
Well, I've spent many missions in interrogating people, investigating areas, and no one's ever caught on to me being me, so if you didn't leave any footprints behind, I mean, no one's gonna see you.
I think it'd
Maybe
be pretty
if you
neat.
ask to talk with them, or if you just shout out to the sky, I stole your man, they might do something. That's usually what happens when someone wants to piss off Ellie. So they just say, I stole your man, and then she tries killing them.
I mean, it's not like I want to meet
they can
them. I just feel
certainly
left out.
try, but they will not succeed. Thank you very much. I saved you from a fucking goddess. No one will take you. Unless you choose to leave yourself, of course.
Romance.
Ellie has
Invigorating.
the sweetest smile on her face, of course.
I love you too, hon. Anyways, so, yeah, do you want to meet them, or do you want to, curse their existence? It's really hard to do both, except when you're Ellie.
I'm a little bit ambivalent towards the whole god thing in general. I mean, when you're in the slums, you're just taught this is just the way it is, and if it's just that's just how it's gonna be. But you know, everyone else gets to meet the gods except for me. Why can't I curse them to their face at least once? You know?
Well, you've seen snow now, so maybe you can meet a god and insult their existence.
First time for everything, huh?
I'm not really sure why you would want to. I'm perfectly content not meeting a single god in my life.
Just to say I have. I try to live my life to the fullest.
Fair, you know, fair. Well, hopefully they don't steal your money.
No, I'm pretty sure I killed them first if they stole my money. I'd get there before Bill does.
Bill's just over in the corner, just like, huh? Alright, well, time to go see the doc, and, he's just gonna head over to Oliver and the little campsite Oliver's been making and start helping Oliver set up stuff. Oh yeah, you do have the bracer, don't you? So you could just start making a little campsite easily. Yeah, yep. Pretty much what you can do. I love it. Man, he's just kind of helping you set up the camp and stuff. You could also make bombs. Anyways, so I'm assuming the rest of you guys also set up the camp and stuff.
Yep.
Just kind of like lounge as everyone else like does the things. Flipping my coins and being like, yeah, 1 platinum, 2 platinum. You're doing good over there. Haha.
I just
3 platinum.
I just imagine just under a couple of occasions they just like see you're just like wandering around with this random levitating trees that just spontaneously split into boards and just like assemble like platforms and stuff, small wooden platforms like set up for stable sleeping positions and that sort of thing. I
I'm
don't
imagining like I'm leaning against like a tree or something. Do I have platinum things? And then suddenly it floats up.
I love how you're counting platinums like they're fucking copper pieces.
And just simply so I can say I said it, I showed it.
Nice. Alright. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did, feel free to tune back in next week at 7 p.m. PST on Friday. Or if you guys want to check out the rest of our episodes or several other series including Ventures into the End Times and Oceans Ablaze, both run by Autis DM on TikTok or Benny. Feel free to go check out our YouTube channels, Tables of Tartarus and Vods of Valhalla for all the other videos that we do on a general basis. And we shall see all of you fine folks on the next episode. A huge shout out to our $3 patron, Pastry Boy Fritter. He is on a $3 patron. And if you guys want to also be shout out in our Patreon or look at our various stories that we write ahead of time, feel free to go check out that as well. You guys can also, depending on which tier you go on to, help me create NPCs, their backstories, their races, the towns they grew up in, and even the BBEG of a story if you guys pledge high enough. So go check out that stuff. It's all pretty cool. And we'll see all of you fine folks next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.